Sarah. Welcome to the It's a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, August 21, 2023, and this is episode 97. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I love talking about my knitting and crochet so much that I make episodes twice a week, every Monday and every Friday, and I make them in English and in Dutch, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, let's go. Before I want to share my biggest handwerk perikel from this weekend, my biggest crafty adventure from this weekend, I will tell you a little bit about what I'm wearing. I'm wearing one of my Little Secret crops. It's a pattern by Jessie. I made quite a few, and this one I knitted last summer in a worsted weight brown cotton. And last Friday I was wearing a crochet top, the Rumors Vest by the Iron Lamp, and I was a little bit complaining. I don't know if complaining is the right word. I had some doubts about wearing a tank top under it or not. I really prefer to wear something under it, but I always have tank tops with a high neckline, a high back, so you could see quite some of the black fabric of the tank top, and I wasn't really happy with that, but my problem is solved, because one of the Dutch viewers commented on my Dutch episode, that she always wear tank tops with spaghetti straps. In Dutch we say spaghetti bandjes, because the thin straps. Do you also say spaghetti straps in English? I don't know, it's quite a weird name, but she always wears tank tops with spaghetti straps, and they have a lower back. So she also told me where she buys them, so I immediately went to that store. It's also in my town, and now my problem is solved, because I can wear a tank top under it without a high back. So the solution for my problem was so simple that I didn't see it, and that's something I always think. Those things are quite inspiring when you have that experience, that sometimes solutions are so simple you can't see them. That's confusing and calming at the same time. When I have other problems in life, which I can't solve immediately, it's really nice to think, oh, the solution is probably not as difficult as I think it is, but it can also be a little bit confusing or frustrating. Why can't I see it? This made me laugh, and I'm very happy. And the only thing is, I have quite a wide back, so I hope there will be a little bit of sunshine to let the tan line disappear, I guess. I don't know if you say it like that. Today is quite a warm day. That's the reason why I'm sitting at my kitchen table. It's a little bit early in the morning. I already filmed my Dutch episode. It's 9 o'clock, I guess. We still have holiday, so my children are asleep. One of them was awake, and I asked her, can you go back to bed or at your bedroom so I can film my other episode too, because it is warm and I can't sit at my knitting office, also my bedroom, when it's warm, and I really want to finish this before the rest of my day starts. So it can be that I will be interrupted by another kid that wakes up, but I hope they will stay asleep for 30 minutes. They can do that. They always do. Okay, let's go. My main project from this moment, from the past 2 weeks, is a knitting project. It's a test knit for an all-over colorwork cardigan. Fingering weight. I did start it before, but I failed. It didn't work out. Let me start at the beginning. It's the first design of a Dutch knitter, and her name is Eve, and she designed a cardigan pattern, and she was inspired by a cardigan she bought in store. And I did own that same cardigan a few years ago. I searched for some pictures, and it was really 8 years ago. I don't have the cardigan anymore. I don't think it was good anymore. I don't have it. But I really love the cardigan, and because it reminds me of the colorwork knitting, and I couldn't knit that at that time myself. But I really loved it then already. So I was really happy to see her cardigan, and I applied for the test knit. And I really want to use good yarn. I want to knit with a non-superwash yarn, a fingering weight. Her cardigan, the name will be the Soq cardigan. Her cardigan was knitted with Soq yarn, but I really wanted non-superwash yarn, so I bought Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift. And I told about this in earlier episodes, beginning of June, I guess. I don't remember exactly, but it was quite a challenge to choose the colors, because there are a lot of colors. I'm seeing a spider on the plant. I'm not afraid of spiders. I hope you are not too. I was so busy with choosing the right colors. You need 6 colors, and there are over 200 options, that I missed the fact that it are 25-gram balls and not 50-gram balls. So I ordered half of the amount I needed. But that was okay. It was my plan to order the other half later, but luckily I didn't do that, because I had really trouble with getting the right gauge. I love the colors, and it's really nice and fun, but my gauge was off. I had 2 less stitches. I think the gauge is 32 stitches on 10 centimeters, and I don't know exactly what I had. I already went down a needle size, and later 2 needle sizes. The pattern is knitted on 3mm needle sizes, 3mm needles. The color work. I'm a loose knitter, so I always go down a needle size. I always do that, at least one, but it still didn't work out. And the fit is quite good right here, but there were so many increases, and it got so wide, and I didn't like it. I love fitted sleeves, and the pattern is also meant to be. And of course you can make it as oversized as you want, but I don't want an oversized cardigan. I want it to wear it on my linen dresses and skirts. And on a white dress, on a white skirt, I need a fitted cardigan, because otherwise it doesn't look nice on my. I'm a small person, so it has to be tight tight at the body and wide at the butt. That's not what I wanted to say, but you know what I mean. Okay, so I did several tries, and it didn't work out. The yarn is lovely, the fabric is lovely, but it was not right for me to use for this pattern. So I put it in a bag, and I will use it for another pattern. I think I will make, I'm not sure if it's, I saw a pattern from Skander, from Ellie from Skander Knits, the librarian vest. I'm not quite sure. I saw it at Jonna's from Knit Together with Kim and Jonna, and it is a vest all over colorwork also. And I think I want to make that one with this yarn. I heard a helicopter. I'm distracted. I'm sorry. It makes so much noise. I hope you can't hear it. But then I have to choose another yarn, and it was really headbreaking. Do you say it like that? I really thought about the options, and I really doubted about using Holst Super Soft. But I also, time was passing by. The test knit runs until September. And it is quite a big job to knit an all over colorwork vest in fingering weight. So I didn't want to take any risk, and at the end I ordered the same yarn as Eve used for her pattern, for her original design, and that is a sock yarn. It's from a Dutch brand. I think in English you say durable. There are also Dutch knitters, Dutch people who say durable, but I also always say durable. That sounds quite French, durable. My French is pretty bad. But I can say durable in a French way, I guess. Durable socks. And it's a superwash sock yarn, 75% wool and 25% polyamide. And yeah, that's not what I wanted for an all-over colorwork vest, because superwash yarn, the stitches are not flowing in as beautiful as with non-superwash yarn, but I didn't want to take any risk anymore. So I ordered it, and I decided to not start on our holiday because it took some brain space and some quiet time I need for knitting this, because the chart I already experienced. The chart didn't knit intuitive for me. That was not a problem of the chart, that was a problem of mine. I will tell you more about that in a minute, but first I want to show you my sleeves, because I had another color combination, and it is not what I had planned, but this happened and I am very happy. I'm a happy person. Look at those sleeves. Let me start with the fit. This is perfect. I really love this fit. They are fitted, but there is space. I don't know exactly where the raglan will be, how long or actually how short the sleeves will be. I did use a provisional cast on because I wasn't sure about the length. It's a bottom-up pattern, and I really want to have the opportunity to add some extra color work when the sleeves, when I would find them too short. The stitches will be the other way, so I don't know if that's a problem, but I also there should be quite a long ribbing. I really love that. So I think that will be okay, but we shall see. But I knitted the sleeves, and yeah, what can I say? I love the colors. I'm not sure about the yarn, because exactly why I wanted to use non-superwash yarn is happening. The color work is not, it is superwash yarn, so that's the difference. But I must say I can wear this on my bare skin, and I can't wear this on my bare skin with non-superwash yarn, not when it's summer. And that made me realize that I can wear this cardigan all year, also as an extra layer on colder summer days or colder summer evenings, and that would be not an option. That wouldn't be an option when I used non-superwash yarn. So it is okay. It is okay. I had really a big struggle with knitting the chart, and it is not a problem from the pattern, but a problem from Sarah, because the chart is quite easy, especially these parts. There are small small repetives, I guess. Only the stars are a bit more complicated, but the reason I love color work so much is the rhythm and the intuitive part, that you can knit 3 brown, 1 green, 3 white, 1 green, and all around. And I didn't get the rhythm for the sleeves. I did knit a magic loop. That was not a part of the problem, but I really struggled through it, and that sounds harder than it was, because you can see it. This is hard jumping. I don't have to explain, I guess. But when I was at the body, I casted on the body this weekend. What shall I say? It's a bit of a mess, because I have 3 colors attached. There are only 2 colors at the same time, but every now and then I don't cut off one color when I need it quite soon for another row. I filmed a little bit about my knitting in the garden this weekend, so I will show you that, and in the meantime I will share my experience with the color work, because it is a success story. Okay, here we go. So I will take you with me to my garden. We have a little, really small garden, a little place it is, but it is big enough for us. And this is my little corner where I spent quite some time this weekend. It was nice, hot, no, it was not really hot. It was nice, warm summer weather. And I was sitting here under the sunscreen with my laptop and pile of paper and my basket filled with the yarn and my knitting project. And it was really nice sitting here and working through the pattern. And as you can see, my body part is laying on the table. I already cast it on the body, but I did make a mistake. As I said, I did have some struggles with the color work. I didn't got the rhythm, and for the sleeve that was not really a problem, because it was only a small amount of stitches, and I made quite some mistakes even in the easy part, but I could knit back and fix the mistake, and it was not really a problem. Only normally the rhythm of knitting color work gives me energy, and now it only costs energy. And when I saw the result, that gave me energy for certain, but it was not. I was not knitting in a flow. I was really missing that. But I thought, okay, maybe you can't knit in a flow always with color work. Maybe this is just not the right pattern for me to knit in a flow. But I love the end result anyway. That is really hard jumping to me, and that really gives me energy. So we will work through it, and yeah, it is what it is. And maybe you can see that I am knitting backwards at the moment. I'm quite an experienced backwards knitter. I knit the wrong way quite often to solve problems, to fix mistakes, and sometimes that's easier than ripping out. I have almost 300 stitches on my needles, and just pull out the needles and rip out sounds a bit as a nightmare with this knitting project. Sometimes it's the best option, but not with this one. And yeah, I'm really a knitter who learns by doing the thing. You have different styles, and I used to think that my style was not a good one. That I fail all the time by making those mistakes, but I learned that that's just my way. That's just the way how I do it. And I'm not a person who sit down with a pattern before I start and read all the things and try to understand everything and overthink everything. That doesn't work for me. I learn the best with the knitting in my hands, and that also means that I make mistakes quite often, and that I have to rip out or knit backwards, but that's not a bad thing. That's just how I do it. And I think in the end it costs the same amount of time if you are overthinking something a lot before, or if you are just beginning and learning by doing it. It doesn't make a big difference. And yeah, it's really, I really learned this from my knitting and crochet, that's my style also in other parts of my life. I'm knitting backwards, and I'm doing 3 rounds at the same time. And I don't know if you can see it, I put in my needle 3 stitches under the live stitch on my needle. So I go back to to the main color, and I can set up my color work again, because I made a mistake. I didn't count good, and that was really a problem. And at this point I was quite frustrated, because it was just not working out the way I wanted to be. And I thought, how can I ever complete this cardigan with so many stitches and with so hard work? So I was a bit annoyed, but I also I also know that when I'm annoyed or frustrated, that gives me the power to come up with a solution. So yeah, I think I need the frustration. You can also see my face is not a peaceful, happy face. It is a hard-working, frustrated face. My husband always says he can see at my face if it's hard what I'm doing or if I am enjoying it. And I know what he means when I'm looking at this. Now we are back at the knitting. We can start over again. You can see I cut out a little piece of the chart. The main problem for not getting into the rhythm was that I divided the stitches in parts of 10, and I placed the stitch marker every 10 stitches, but that wasn't the right way to divide them, because the chart wasn't a multiply of 10, so it felt very unnatural. But the chart, the lines of the chart were every 10 stitches, so I just followed that. But I searched for a new divine. Do you say divine? I don't know what's the word is. For a new way to divide my stitches. And I divided it in 9 and 15 stitches, and then it worked out pretty good. And it was quite amazing that the color work that I was so struggling with, and that didn't go in a flow, when I divided it in different amounts, it completely changed. It got rhythmic and energizing, and I was back at peaceful knitting again. And I was quite impressed by that, because I actually already thought, okay, it is what it is, I have to struggle through it. But by changing a little bit in the rhythm, the whole experience changed. It gave me so much joy again, and the frustration was gone. And I also didn't make any mistakes again. It was just, it was just working out pretty good. And I really love to learn such lessons from my knitting and crochet, because I can use them in other parts of my life. I really love to learn those life lessons from my knitting and crochet, because I can really use them on other parts of my life. For example, at my household, I don't know how you say it in English, we call it huishouden in Dutch, the things you need to do to keep your house clean and organized. It's also, for me, really important to do that in the right rhythm, because when I don't, it costs me a lot of energy. And I really love the end result. I really love a clean and organized house. But when I don't do it in the right rhythm, it takes so much energy, and I don't know, it doesn't go with the flow. But when I change a little bit to the rhythm, it completely changed, and it's fun to do, and and also the process is giving me a lot of positive energy. So at the moment I am changing my way of doing the things in the house by doing it in small parts. I always try, no, not always, when I'm my motivation is gone, I can't find my motivation, I do 15 minutes days, and I alternate 15 minutes of cleaning and organizing with 15 minutes of knitting or crochet, and that always works pretty good for me because I feel so balanced, and both the knitting and the cleaning are going in a flow, and it really gives me positive energy. And I realize more and more that it's not only good to do that when I don't have the motivation, but maybe it's just the way it works the best for me. So do it anyway, any day. When I do 15 minutes days, it works out pretty good. It's good for my body, because hours and hours of knitting is also not good. So the switch between sitting and working is pretty good for me, and it's also about the right rhythm. So it's my knitting is inspiring me on complete other ways, and that's really nice. Now I am back on track with my knitting. It's all good right now, so it's time to organize the mess. I don't like it when my crafting place is messy, but I am a messy person, so I need to organize quite often. And I think I am searching for my knitting book. Yes, there it is. I told about my knitting book before in earlier episodes, and it's one of my most helpful and successful tools, which is also very hard jumping, especially since I decided that it doesn't need to be perfect. I really work on an imperfect way in my knitting book, and that makes it perfect because I have the joy, and I also have the end result of a quite good and practical diary for my knits and crochets, and it's very useful. I saved a page for this cardigan, but I didn't make notes. Maybe I already realized that it wouldn't be an easy start. I would have to change a lot of things about the yarn and whatever, so I didn't start the page, but now it's time for that, especially because I have that eeny mini chart and I don't want to lose it. So I paste it in my knitting book. Do you say paste? We have this plastic tape, we call it plakband, and it's not a beautiful tape, but just a practical tape, and I only use the practical tape, and I don't it's good that it's not really neat and a bit messy. I always write down a few things about my project. It's a little bit of my format on the first page of a project. I write down the date I start, and when I finish it, the date when it was finished, although I forget it quite often. I also write down the pattern and the designer and the size I make and the needle sizes I use, and of course the yarn I use. And it's really, it's looking nice, but it's also very helpful when you want to make the pattern again or use the yarn for a different pattern, that you can check the things. I start writing down the gauge also. I didn't do that, but it's also quite practical it's quite helpful to have the gauge with you. So that's quite nice, and I'm writing down the details about the yarn. Yeah. Really love doing this. It's quite a peaceful moment in the process of knitting a garment. Just take the time to write down things. Yeah, I really love doing it. So back again, the sun disappeared, so I put in the sunscreen. I hope the sun will stay away, because otherwise it will be very bright and sunny. But we all love the extra light when we are showing our knitting, I guess. But yeah, I'm really back on track with this cardigan. It's really nice to knit and to work on. And yeah, it's a bit messy in my basket because of all the yarn attached, and also there are quite some yarn ends. And in a pattern, Eve tells you that it is a good idea to weave in ends as you go. So there is the sun. So it won't be such a big task at the end. But I did have to frog it several times before, so I'm a bit careful with weaving in it immediately, because then I can't frog it anymore. I don't think I have to frog it by now. These ones are good, so I did start weaving in ends, but it's quite some work. I did catch my floats every third stitch, and I was expiring with catching every other stitch, but I didn't love the fabric that it makes with the superwash yarn. So I catch my floats every third stitch, and that's pretty good, and that makes the inside also beautiful. So I'm a happy person. I worked on this all weekend, and almost all weekend, and I will work on this quite a lot the coming weeks, because I really want to finish it quite soon. Yesterday evening I got distracted a little bit because I accidentally found this project bag, and I opened it, and in this project bag lives my Corran cardigan, a pattern by Clow. I made a Corran cardigan also as a test knit earlier this year, and when the pattern was released, I guess it was April, I immediately cast on my second version. I want to make a short sleeved version in Holst Coast, held double, and I was quite near to finish the garment, but I completely failed the 3 needle bind off, and I told about it in a previous episode, but it was such a great mess. I was knitting with the yarn held double, and I couldn't fix it, and it was so frustrating, and that happens not quite often to me. Most of the time I do have those failures and mistakes, but most of the time I can fix it, but it didn't work out at all this time. So I put it in a project bag and never watched to it before. We were just not on good speaking terms. I did it. It's not the way I do it with projects, just put them away and ignore them. That's not my way, but it happened now. And yesterday I found a project bag and I opened it, and actually it was love at the first sight again. I forgot my frustration about this project, and I really loved how it felt. And I sat down with a needle and the cardigan, and I could fix my mistakes so easy. I don't know why I couldn't do that before, but it was fixed so easy. And I finished the 3 needle bind off, and I put it on, and I was, I love this so much. And I will finish this little cardigan quite soon. I won't show it this time because our newfound love is really fragile, so I will keep her to myself for a moment. But I hope I can show her to you this Friday, because she will be so lovely, and I'm working on that right now. I did last night, and I will finish this one before I will pick up the cardigan again. But it's really hard jumping, an unexpected hard jumping moment. Yeah. I also want to show you some things I received in the mail coming Friday. So when you are curious about that, I received some lovely things. When you are curious about my Corran and about my mail, then I hope to see you this Friday. I wish you a very nice and very lovely week. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Bye bye.